he made was that he has a calling show, so he gets a lot of calls from females.
Yeah,
So maybe that's part of it too. Maybe he's got a daughter, I think, too. So
exactly. Yeah, he has a young daughter, and I think that kind of softens you up a little bit where you're like, oh, I think I gotta kind of keep a softer touch on things. But it's my first time wearing a hat ever on air, and I keep bumping the bill into the mic, so I got to play with that. Anyway, we are live, Mr. John Fitch. Today
right.
is Saturday, what is it, the 26th?
I think so.
Saturday, October 26th, we're going to call this the 12th episode because the last one was my AMA that I did solo, but we'll still call it a Red Pill Smash Bros. We're in the double digits right now, my dude. John, go ahead. For those people that are tuning in live right now that may not know who you are, let's get a little synopsis of the old John Fitch.
Yeah, John Fitch here, a longtime MMA fighter, world champ. Have fully embraced the red pill ideology, I guess. I was a blue pill alpha for a while, a number of years, got divorced, and they kind of opened me up to the red pill and the relationship context of things. Kind of disillusioned away from the idea of one-itis and the one mentality that we're all kind of sold on. Coming to full understanding of the gynocentric order that is, destroying Western culture really and destroying women. And they don't even know it.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I have sons, so I'm interested in, helping the world become a better place for them, and also trying to figure out, the best way to handle the modern dating market we live in. I think we're on the cusp of a brand new way of dating and mating, and we've got to figure out the best strategies.
For sure. Everybody, my name is Corey Capella. Let's see where to start. Pretty much on track with John. That's the reason why we started this. Is we both saw that we need to have a resurgence and even an evolution in masculinity in today's world. We both align very much on the majority of the antidotes that need to be kind of prescribed to men in today's world, along the lines of just utter discipline, courage, and then just focusing on developing yourself into the best version of you through certain things, right? Especially when it comes to diet, nutrition, exercise, dating and game, mental stuff. Just developing yourself into the best version of you, and that's kind of what this whole thing is about. On top of just, what's it called? Really delving deep into the red pill philosophy. And the thing that I hate to say is this, because, a lot of people get caught up in the ideology of things like MGTOW, and then it kind of brings in these people that claim it, and they become the trolls of it. And they're like, well, that's not really red pill, and that's not this. It's like, you know what? Dude, it's just like the terms that we use on here of like alpha and beta. It's a placeholder. It's a placeholder to just kind of let you know the consciousness bubble we're talking about of encompassing belief systems, right? So that's why John and I come to you live. Anyway, with that said, last episode I felt like was pretty awesome. I did a little AMA and we got some really good questions from the group. We uncovered a lot of stuff. I got to talk about my new book that I'm developing right now, and then the future of what I'm trying to develop. I think that's something that John's on board with too, because he's starting something himself called Fitch Smash. He should actually be in San Diego here pretty soon, right? November 2nd.
Yeah, next weekend, I believe.
Fuck, that's awesome. So is it next Saturday?
I believe so, yeah.
All right,
Yeah,
so maybe we'll do like a quick little live. We're not gonna go live for a long time, but we'll just do like a live check-in from the gym.
Yeah,
that'd be cool.
Because it's going to be at 11, so we could lead into it or something.
Oh yeah, that'd be epic. Yeah. Cool. So stay tuned for that. If you guys are watching right now, obviously give us the old thumbs up, and also give this a share. Share it with your friends. Share it with your family. Share it with your little brother. Get him going. Give him some role models. Anyway, John, you've been sending me links galore.
One of the things, all kinds of crazy stuff come up. When I think of it, I think you should see it, and I send you stuff. I've got all kinds of notes from here. I'm at the 21 convention right now, and some really great speakers and talk about some really great stuff. And I've got a man. It's going to take a while, but I've got another book idea, and it would take a lot of time to put together. But I think it's a good one, and it's
Why don't you
basically
go ahead and just data dump on us right now?
yeah. I
Whatever.
kind of want to. I want to kind of.
Do me a huge favor, real quick, real quick. Lower the screen down just a little bit.
Okay. Yeah,
There,
sure.
perfect, perfect.
Yeah. So I kind of want to look at what the future, kind of try to predict what the future of the dating market is going to look like, because none of the historical dating strategies are really going to
Apply.
be viable, right? Because things have
Mm-hmm.
changed too much. Okay, so you have I have to get this book for research, but there's a book called Sex at Dawn, and that, from what I've heard from other guys who talk about it, it talks about pre-agricultural mating strategies.
Mm-hmm.
Um, there's some holes in the theory because they ignored some DNA testing through whatever chimps and other animals where they're able to identify their offspring, and even like the bonobos. I talked about this once before. Even the bonobos, who is a very intersexual like species, they still 60% of the time one male fathers 60% of the children.
Mm-hmm.
So it's still a harem style mating system. So
Right.
that was something similar to what we had before agriculture. Then we got into agriculture, and it became um, society enforced monogamy, because that led to survival. It meant more marriages. That meant more people could have more kids, which meant more people to create soldiers, to create farmers, to have more people to defend, to have more people to invade.
Mm-hmm.
So socially enforced monogamy was, as a whole, a good for about 20,000 years, and then now we're getting into the age of industrialization and technology. So now you have a shift in survival, right? The women and children don't necessarily need men anymore directly, because the government's kind of become the man to take care of them, and technology and machines have come along to replace the man also to take care of the women and the children. So it's much harder for you to get the attention that you need to be with a woman now, and there's no social pressure for them to be in a monogamous relationship with you. So it seems like they're an open hypergamy, right? And you can see this. I can see this in the dating world in the Bay Area. You see girls on Tinder and Bumble, and they're in non-monogamous relationships. They have a
They're all in
boyfriend,
open
but they're
relationships and stuff.
yep.
Yeah,
And
it's
basically that
crazy.
just means that they have, and that's not. It doesn't go both ways, guys. It doesn't. You hear that, and she's out banging dudes every weekend. The guy's at home alone.
Right.
Right. He's not hooking up with anybody.
Yeah, he's playing fucking video games.
Yes, he's playing video games, and she's out banging somebody else, and that's normal because now at least he's got some type of access, right? But so yeah, so I see it playing out as we are. So I feel like the
And he's
future's,
open with that too. He's open to being a cuckold. He's already come
yes,
into the relationship saying,
because that's
I
the
don't
only
care if
way
I
he can.
sire, right. I don't care if I take care of another man's child. It's crazy. Keep going.
Well, because it's still part of his survival. That's his only access to maybe get the chance to live through his genes living on. Right. So that's the terrifying thing. That's why women. That's what Stefan Malin was
What
talking
is it
about
like?
today.
Is it like a hedging of the bet of like maybe it is my child, or maybe at a
No,
certain point,
like,
maybe if I take care of the
because
alpha's child, then I'll have an opportunity to mate with her.
Stefan was talking about this today, because he says it's the fear of death, because if the woman says no, you don't have access to have sex with me, then it's the death of your
Right.
DNA.
Right.
So like,
Well, that's why rejection hits us so hard too, because we feel
yes,
a literal death.
it's yes, exactly. So that's a part of it. He would rather be a cuckold and have sex every once in a while, because then maybe he gets a chance to live, rather than guaranteed death.
Yeah.
Right. So that's the survival strategy again.
So how do you think that ties into society? Because the crazy part is, societally, we're at the best we are, especially with technology and medicine,
Mm-hmm.
to live longer than
Mm-hmm.
ever. We have a extreme amount of population that continues to live on. Why is it that someone biologically then would be thinking about death? You know what I mean? Like what is causing that to
It's
happen right now where
millions
people are
of years
like,
of evolution. It's hard to turn it off. How do you turn something off that has been in the back of your lizard brain for millions of years?
mm.
It's going to take time.
I would even go further to say, and I think we've talked about behavioral sync before on the podcast, where I think everyone realizes and understands, and this is literally the prologue of my book right now. And I love the fact that you're thinking of along the same lines, because you and I are on the same page here of like, we need to identify what's going on right now, understand it from a social standpoint and a biological standpoint, and then we need to come up with a solution for the future,
Yep.
right? And that's the counterculture that I'm trying to create. And it sounds like we're both trying to create. But I think genetically, I think cellularly, I think our cells inside our body are recognizing that the atmosphere that we live in, the environment that we live in, is not going to be able to sustain life. And we are literally at a genetic and a biological level optimizing our best sexual strategies possible in order for us to hedge our bets in order to survive. We know something's going to happen. I think at least that something is going to happen, whether it be an environmental thing, whether it be we run out of resources, whether it be economic, whether it be, no kidding, like the lights just fucking turn off and we descend rapidly into fucking anarchy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like something is going to happen because I think we realize that the environment can no longer sustain the resources, the open hypergamy, it's just the part of genetics. That's what I'm thinking, at least. But continue.
Maybe, I mean, I don't know, I've seen some things too, though, where it talks about, just the sheer size of the planet, the sheer number of uninhabited places. I don't think we're anywhere near overpopulation. I think we have a major problem with waste. I think we waste a ton of food, we waste a ton of energy, and we pollute. But I don't see a catastrophic end in that sense for a long time.
Well, I think the fact that people fail to recognize is that anywhere we go, you have to really study animals as a hunter to really understand how animals impact their environments, right? So one of the big things that you have to take into consideration, and I know that you're big on this is gut health, right? So your gut is a microbiome, okay? And the stuff that we're putting in our guts today and the food that we're eating and the way that we eat and all this other stuff, we are literally destroying all the cells, the prokaryotes, the eukaryotes, the bacteria, all this other stuff inside of our guts. And that's making it so that our entire health, our entire ecosystem of our vessel for our soul, our body, is going through these rocky changes, and it's not leading us to our happiest life, our best life. They did a study. It's funny because and this is something I actually talk about in my new book too. When they started to incorporate wolves back into Yellowstone, what was happening was the belief system was, there's no predators, so then, all the prey animals and all this other stuff is going to be amazing, and, it's going to be beautiful, and there's not going to be any of this like real natural like nature, right? Because Mother Nature, it's so funny that these leftists, like this Greta Thunberg and all these other people, they literally live in this caricature, this idea, this anthropomorphized idea of what nature is, of like, Mother Nature is this beautiful, harmonious, just fair and egalitarian, right? Everything just gets along, happy, whatever. No. This motherfucker is the most hellacious bitch possible. It is literally eat, sleep, feed, and fuck and survive, right? Like, that's what's going through an animal's mind constantly. It's those like 5 things of just boom, right? Well, anyway, long story. They introduced wolves back into Yellowstone because what was happening was all these herd animals that feed on the vegetation, they were going around and they were just eating so much of the vegetation that all the big things, like all the bugs, the mites, the worms, the ladybugs, all this other stuff, the bacteria that's needed, the pollination, everything, right? It was literally turning Yellowstone into a wasteland because the microbiome of that environment was dying because it was being eroded by these prey animals, right? That were, pack animals that were just I call them prey animals because that's what the predators feed on, right? And the second that they brought the wolves back in and the wolves started to cull the herds, that's when the environment started to happen. You started to see beavers building dams. You started to see more bird flocks. You started to see different insects and all this other stuff. So the thing is, and the fact of the matter is, it doesn't matter about our populations and what's sustainable. What matters is how are we able to live a symbiotic relationship with our environments where things are balanced? And it comes down to numbers. And that's what, unfortunately and fortunately, the environment is based off of. How can we have it so that, because you got to understand, we talk about biology all the time. We started from a single-celled organism, and then we've evolved building up off of that kind of that pyramid, right? You talked about it last time. I eat that food over there because that food over there has been digesting all the nutrients in the grass so that I don't have to go and eat grass. That's how we've evolved. And essentially that's how
external stomachs.
Yeah, exactly. I love it.
Animals are external stomachs. They
Right.
break down the nutrients we can't, and then we eat them to get the nutrients.
Beautiful. And that's part of our evolution. And that's how we've been able to evolve as a species. And the fact is, unfortunately, go ahead, keep going. Yeah.
One thing
by the way,
is about the overpopulation. Like, I don't think globally we're overpopulated, but I think we have overpopulated cities, and those cities I think could collapse 100%.
Well, that's true. Absolutely. The other thing though too is we need to figure out a way, now that we have the right technologies, now that we have, this has been a battle for developing a mass increase in IQ. Right. And one of the reasons why I talk about religion and religion now being something that's going to be replaced, religion was a means because at that time, the average IQ, if you took it per capita, the average IQ, if you looked at the bell curve, that mean or that median, right, that was probably at an average IQ of 75, which is basically today retarded. Right? It's a state where most people aren't able to develop their own ethics. They're not able to understand morality, right? So you had to have this big, scary man in the sky that could throw fireballs at you if you did this stuff. Or, if you didn't fall in line, when you die, you're going to go to this super scary place where this fucking Satan character is going to literally fucking rape you with a fucking fiery pitchfork. You know what I'm saying? Like, the fear needed to be the way to get these
some of that
out.
Fear, though, was because they wanted to scare you into falling in line for the agriculture.
Absolutely.
Because they wanted you to produce. You needed to produce. If you don't, you're going to hell. Everybody suffers.
Right. But that was all a means in order to elevate, in my eyes, and understanding consciousness now, that was a means to bring up that notch to the next level of mass IQ, right? You got to remember, and Stefan talks about this a lot, IQ is practically heritable. Once it reaches a certain mean, once it reaches a certain level, it's practically heritable by genetics, 80% at least, right? So the cool part is that's part of our evolution. We are now literally giving that built up IQ of our evolution over to the next generations, and it's going to keep building on up. The thing is now, we realized we needed to build up this mass amount of population in order for us to get to this technology so that we could live in a means of developing technologies that would be able to have us have a sustainable life. So we're not having to hunt and fish and all this other stuff. But at the same time, too, when we look at it, like these mass farming projects where we're taking up hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of acres and we're literally fucking spraying all these fucking chemicals and killing all the microbiomes and all this other stuff and, pretty much wiping out other animal populations and so forth. We see how that's raging a war on our gut and our mental health and all this other crap. We're at a point where it's like, okay, we have to kind of cull the herd in a way because we are at that precipice right now where we can blend technology, higher IQ people, create our own morality, understand spirituality instead of religion, not live in a fear-based society, and we could pass this on while growing the population again in a healthier growth process rather than the exponential growth process that we had. Right? But the thing is, it's always going to repeat itself. It's always, always, always going to repeat itself. And the thing is, I think for this future, this is some very fucking Elon Musk type stuff, But I think the next future that we're creating is the ability to actually rebuild the population, and have a better technology for us to be able to explore the solar system and populate other planets.
I mean, that would be nice, but the problem is the smarter people aren't having kids.
Right.
It's the low IQ people that are breeding like crazy.
Well,
And not only that,
that's why there needs to be a
we
cull
have
of the herd.
we have
Unfortunately.
abortion. Well, we're culling the wrong people. So
Right.
like we're also having, abortion. It's a hot topic these days.
Mm.
Like there's what, like 50 million babies aborted or so. Like that's a huge dip in population because of all those abortions, but a large portion of them, may be higher IQ,
Mm.
and then the answer is to bring in, people from outside to stock more people into
Yeah,
our country.
they're subsidizing different ethnicities into our country, and those people are actually outpopulating us as far as procreation is concerned. The thing is, too, you got to remember, this ties directly into our schooling, especially where I grew up. I grew up in a town that was predominantly, I think we were about like 98% white. But it didn't dismiss the fact that all of my schooling was one, gynocentric, and two, steeped in the new age philosophy of progressivism and feminism. Every step of the way, there was white guilt implemented into my upbringing. There was this notion from all of our teachers who went outside of the small town and came back with their fucking awesome degrees from these different universities, and they literally berated us with this idea of white guilt and all this other stuff. And again, it kind of ties into the fact of like fear. It's to the point now, like, look at these new generations of kids that are being brainwashed into the fucking cult of environmentalism. These kids are literally, like, there's women out there, there's a ton of people that are literally thinking about suicide because that's their idea of either one, genetic suicide of not having any kids, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or two, literal suicide where it's like, I got to remove myself from the planet because I'm an issue. Like, that's fucked up. That's some fucked up stuff. And that's been going on since, I would say, the 80s has been kind of the biggest aspect, maybe the 90s. Yeah, when they started really introducing and hitting hard on this self-esteem stuff in schools, where they really started to make people like internalize all this stuff, and then they implemented with the self-esteem stuff this activist mindset and this belief that you are in control of it's your fault. It's your fault just for being born. It's your fault. You already have this original sin that's kind of implemented in. So think about that, though. Like, even before puberty, you're having this stuff put in there. And, we understand epigenetics. If your environment is telling you that you're bad and that procreating is going to make it a bigger strain, epigenetically, what's going to happen to you? You know what I mean? Epigenetically, you're going to, like, turn off things in your body, your hormones that are going to make you optimal for procreation. I think it's one of the biggest reasons why we're seeing such masculinized women and they're converting over to being gay, and we're seeing such fucking betatized men. It's not just, the birth control in the water or the fucking MK Ultra fucking microwaves that people are blasting at your genitals. You know what I'm saying? Like, this goes deeper at a psychological level of literally our leaders of society inculcating us into the brainwashing of, hey, you're an issue just because you're born. And it comes down to, like, I don't know, a lot of people call lefties, a death cult. So I don't know. We have some comment here. There will be a culling, and then all the dudes who are high-level alphas will be like the tribal leaders and patriarchs of old. Tension and hardship will bring back a true economy and strong men. I don't disagree.
Yeah, so it's you can either be a pleb like everybody else and be genetically suicided.
Yeah, exactly.
You can get genetically cleansed, and or you can lift yourself up, become an alpha. And,
I think we're gonna see some Genghis
you
Khan
lead
type
your own
shit.
troop.
Yeah, there's going to be dudes that have harems of women that spread their seeds amongst the masses, and that's kind of going to be the thing that reseeds the earth in a way, reseeds the populations. And then, of course, there's probably going to be some beta men because you need beta men in order to be like the workers and stuff like that. you know, but they're not going to have the best options because they're just.
Well, we have machines. We have machines that are going to be able to do a lot of.
That's true too.
There's some.
There's just some things too though that I guess that makes sense. That makes sense. I have no problem with that. I have no problem with having some fucking AI like taking care of the plants and the livestock and all that other stuff, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, who knows? I'm to be honest with you, I'm kind of it sounds sad and it sounds scary, but at the same time I'm kind of excited for a future along those lines. I think we can
Yeah, I
be
mean, I don't know
smarter.
what it's going to look like, but I don't think we can go back. I don't think it's going to go back because
You can't go back. We can't turn the
yeah,
boat around. It's too big of a boat.
there's no I mean, not anytime quickly. Maybe way down the line something else happens, but yeah, I mean, it seems like for millions of years we had one dating strategy and market, and then agriculture came in and changed everything. And then now we're in this more modern industrial age and technological age. We're shifting again into another market.
On a side note, I just purchased this drink. I saw this ad for mud water. It's not mud water that I'm drinking. It's a different one. It's like a fucking cocoa and mushroom tea.
Huh.
You ever see any of that stuff?
No.
Let me pull it up here. My orders. Cockballs, come on. It's called Wild Cocotropic Mushroom Drink. Elixir with cocoa, reishi, chaga extract, maca, turmeric. Yeah. That's what I'm drinking right now. It's actually not a bad little substitute to coffee. I don't know if I feel as much energy, though. I mean, I had a fucking pre-workout this morning for my workout.
Yeah.
Oh. I didn't do pre-workout for years because it really fucked with my anxiety.
I
now,
never really did it. Sometimes I'll do I got my Gorilla Mind Rush.
You've done Gorilla Mind Rush as a pre-workout?
Yeah, I'll use that before I go and work out.
No shit.
Whether I lift or if I want to go roll or whatever, I'll take it beforehand sometimes.
I've done it before rolling, and my rolls have been fucking retarded. Like, amazing. But I haven't done it before.
It helps put you into a groove state, flow state pretty well, I think.
Yeah.
But there's no crash, so that's one of the reasons why I like it.
Dude, Gorilla Mind Rush by far has been one of the craziest supplements I've ever taken. I had to I've had to reduce the dose, and I've had to like.
I only take one. I take one.
No shit.
I'll take one in the morning, and then I'll take a smooth in the afternoon if I need a little pickup.
I haven't tried smooth.
It's like a mood uplifting.
Yeah, I do different stuff with mood. I do 5-HTP. I do St. John's wort. I just got a new shipment in of lion's mane that I'm really enjoying. But I play with my mood that way by doing different neurotransmitter stuff. I enjoy it. I'll probably shoot a video later on all the fucking supplements I take. I have a whole cabinet full. I take them daily. No. It's awesome. You know, people I took a photo last week of like my breakfast, and I had just some of the supplements that I take in the morning for digestion and stuff like that. And people are like, "Oh my God, you take so many supplements." It's like, yeah, yeah. Like, look at the difference between my life and your life. Like, maybe you should hop on board on what I'm doing. Absolutely. Yeah. So, what other? You said you got a whole bunch of notes.
There's just a lot of interesting stuff. Pat Stedman.
Stedman and I got into it this week on Twitter.
and there's man, so I liked everything he said, but I think him and Socrates both had, they're both stuck in this agricultural mindset of dating. The idea that you can still find that girl and you can still get married and things will be good if you do the right things. If you're the right person, if you're secure with yourself, and if you're on top of it yourself and you're a complete man, then you can find that relationship. And it sounds nice, but I don't know if that's really a viable way to go about things. I don't know if that's going to work. I don't know if that's something that this generation has. I don't know if a 22-year-old kid is going to be able to listen to that and apply that into a successful strategy in his life, because the woman isn't going to do her part. She's not going to behave the way women behaved in the previous sexual market.
Right.
And I think they're kind of stuck in that.
Yeah, I'm at the part right now in my new book where I'm talking about femininity and the idea and understanding of a positive feminine. And the positive feminine realizes, that we live in a dualistic kind of polarity, right? Where as men, a woman has to understand that a man could at any point in time go up to her and knock her out and take her as his property, right? He could rape her if he wanted to. Like if he really, really wanted to implement his male dominance and aggression, right? But we live in a society right now where we have a social contract, if you must, where there's an agreement of like, hey, listen, I know I could do this stuff, but I'm not going to because it's just not right, right? The thing is, in our society today, women have not been living up to their side of the contract, right? If that makes any sense. They're not.
The rules of the game have changed. So like to think it's not that they're not living up to their end of the contract. It's the contract changed, the job changed. I just texted you a chart of positive and negative masculine and feminine traits.
Yeah, I like it. I need it for
Yeah,
me.
yeah, that might help.
Yeah, it's good. I appreciate it. But what it comes down to though is that they've foregone, and our society has allowed them to just, it's not to say that there's not women out there that don't embody it. It's just not
Yeah.
nearly as popular. It's very,
Yes,
very popular.
it's not the social forced monogamy. That's
Right.
the best way to put it.
Well, there's no container now either. Like women are able to just be, right? And if a woman chooses to be like a positive feminine or whatever, that's her choice. But the majority of women out there are just like, fuck it, it's anarchy. The fucking gates are open. Go fucking crazy. Just be this way. Like women are not. I think one of the best words that I just saw was tactful. I talk about that. Like women, just the way when you speak to them today, they are just fucking. They're vile. The way that they talk, like the majority of women, they are so quick to just attack the jugular. They're so quick to just say the most nasty things right off the bat, right? And just talk about dirty topics. Whereas before, women would be like a lot more graceful, a lot more tactful, a lot more. And it's not to say we need.
They've been raised to be men,
Yeah,
shitty
exactly.
men.
Right. Yeah, sailors. Right? Fucking pirates. Yeah, and that's the thing is just like what you're talking about with these, the Pat Stedmans and the Socrates and all these other people, they believe still that, oh, if I'm just a good guy and maybe even a nice guy, and I show them this model of.
Well, I don't even think it was with Pat. It wasn't even about being a nice guy. Like what he was saying was very 100% true. He's talking about being secure, insecure. He's talking about basically you being a capable man. Like
Yeah.
you're centered. You're a whole person. You got your shit worked out. You're ready to go. And going from there, moving forward, and then looking for. I'm like my thing is like I don't know if you should be looking for a monogamous relationship at all.
Mm.
That's what I don't know if that's the answer to anything. I don't like why. Why would I mean? You're gonna complete yourself. You're gonna do all this work to make yourself better, and then you're still gonna place yourself in a situation where you could lose half your shit,
Right.
or worse.
Right.
I don't know. I don't know if it's wise to instruct people to do that.
So then what's the wise instruction?
Man,
If you're to throw out an anecdote.
Well, I mean, I think we have to maybe come up with a different strategy towards the future, especially if you want to be a father. If you want your genetic line to continue, I think you're going to have to start putting money aside. Like I said before, a paternity fund.
Yeah, I like that idea.
Start putting money aside. Be like, someday I'm going to have a kid. So I'm putting this much money away every month. so I can afford it.
Mm-hmm.
All I need to do is find a vessel, and I'll see if I can get full custody myself, or pay
Right.
somebody to carry the baby, or at least make sure I've got a cool person that wants to have a kid, and we can co-parent together. And you aim to just have a child and co-parent without the relationship to make it messy at all.
Yeah, in my studies so far of understanding, when it does come to having children, you do have to have a mother and a father. There needs to be an agreement. In order to have a healthy-minded, a good, balanced individual that's going to come into society, it has to come that way. I think what we're going to see in the future is men, kind of like what Bearded Adam's talking about, but what it's going to come down to is instead of marriages, instead it's going to come down to like birthing contracts or co-parenting contracts where it's literally like I'm hiring an independent contractor, so to speak, and the terms are
Strike a
all
deal with somebody who wants to have a kid.
and the
Yeah.
terms are all
Check each other's finances, check each other's
well. My
health.
goal is this.
That's
Yeah, my
actually a good pretty idea. You get a family history of the health. You check your finances, see where you're at, what kind of debt do you have, what's your credit score.
True.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely. But my goal is this. I'm going to get retarded rich, right? I'm going to go and I'm going to find the best viable genetics. I'm looking for 18 to 22 virgin, good upbringing from I don't know where, nothing too crazy, not anything too red flaggy, right? Low drug use, if any. And then approach with, that's the ultimate alpha move. And then approach with a fucking contract. And I'd even be offering up like a dowry of sorts to the family, right? I'd be like, all right, I'm going to take your daughter. Here's, $15K for you guys to kind of live happily or whatever, do what you want. And then our contract is going to be something along the lines of, I'm going to choose when the timing is right for us to have the children. I'm hoping, for me personally, if I'm going to sign this contract within the next year or two, I'm looking to have only 2 children with you. You will be around at least until the youngest age child reaches 13 years old, right? You'll be kind of like cohabitating with me, but it's not, for me personally, it's not going to be an actual cohabitation. I'm probably going to set her up in her own little, like on my property.
Buy
but
a duplex.
No, that's too close still for me. She's going to have her own little like apartment on my property, maybe on like a wing of my house, right? Because it's going to be a big house. Or it's going to be like 800 meters away. You know what I'm saying? So that like my space is my space. She's going to sit over there and I'm going to have other women too. I'm going to have a fucking harem. And that's going to be kind of like if you behave, you can live on my, exactly. Well, there's going to be these standards that are going to be within it. Like you're not going to, you need to maintain your weight and all this other stuff. This is the type of, like, you have to eat healthy, right? No drug use during pregnancy. There will be paternity tests, right? When the child is born, all this other stuff. Any of these things will result in XYZ, right? Like a no kidding fucking contract. And I have no shame talking about this stuff whatsoever because that's the way it's going to be. And then I will highlight my responsibility because I'll be the resource provider, right? You're here to birth my kids and raise them up. You're going to breastfeed them, XYZ, do all this other stuff from age 7 to 13. This is how schooling is going to be and all this other stuff. And this is how we're going to go through and do business. I'm going to take you on a couple trips a year. I'm going to pay for, certain types of or like this amount of clothing and all this other stuff, but you're not going to have anything too lavish. I'll buy you a car, XYZ. And then after after our youngest turns 13, I will invest X amount of dollars into you going and getting a trade so you can go get a job or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not just going to kick you out and boot you out and that's going to be it, right? But it's at least going to be, something where I take care of, what's it called? Anyway, you got any, everyone, John's got to get running.
Yeah, I want to make sure I catch the workshop with Stefan Molyneux, see what he's got to say.
Perfect.
I'm going to ask him some questions about my theories.
I like it. Any last things you want to drop on the audience?
Yeah, nothing I can think of right now. I'm still processing. My head's like constantly going because there's a lot of guys making a lot of good points, and then I've got some arguments, and yeah, this has been a really really good trip. I'm really glad I came out here.
Yeah, that's the
Definitely
crazy part
worth it.
about any seminar you go to is it's just a whole lot of energy. It's a whole like your brain gets opened up and then you're just fucking literally drinking from like 2 fire hoses. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Sweet, sweet, sweet. All right, everybody. Well, here's the thing. Obviously, you know, my channel. The biggest thing I'd like for you guys to do right now is this. If you have any questions or comments or concerns, please do reach me on Instagram or on Twitter at Corey Capella. But, and this is a huge but. Also support this stream if you don't mind. Much prefer you guys to go to either Streamlabs, the link is in below, or go to paypal.me to support and help out. But the biggest thing that I'd really like for you guys to do is go to www.thewartribe.com, become a member, and start having the conversation and have these discussions of what we're talking about. Everything Jon and I talked about today, there's a platform on that forum for us to have these discussions, to start talking about the future of game, to talk about the future of where we're going, talk about how to become the best version of you. So become a member of WarTribe. I believe this is the answer to kind of create the counterculture for what we're trying to create here. Jon, where can they find you? What do you need from them?
Go to johnfish.net. You can pretty much find all my other stuff from that. I've been working on the website, reformatting it, do some things differently. Looking real good right now, but I still have some changes I want to make to it. But you can pretty much find everything I got going on my website, johnfish.net.
Perfect. We're good for Wednesday?
Yes.
Perfect. All right, gentlemen, we will see you at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Wednesday. All right. Before that, though, do please click the like button and also share. With that said, Jon's got to run. I got to run. So we will see you guys on Wednesday. Take care, everybody.
Later, guys.